And we're live for Friday night. It's Random Thoughts with Random Excess. And we have, for the moment, we have Crystal in the house. And we have our loyal companion and trusty co-host, Shane, is going to get here. Hopefully he'll get here before we shut down for the night. It's going to be maybe a short show. I don't really have a lot to talk about today. I'm almost talked out. We've done this now. This is the 34th night in a row we've done this. It's and I've gotten a lot of good. I don't want to repeat myself every night. I don't mind repeating myself every show, but what if it's every night? Then it gets a little tedious. So I'm trying to think, maybe kind of scale back. Maybe I'll talk 20 minutes. Maybe I won't do it every night. Maybe I should go to a 4-night-a-week model where I take a couple of days off so I can let my thoughts percolate a little bit more, and I don't feel like I'm repeating my thoughts. In fact, I don't even have my screen properly set up. Look at that. You guys are looking at the wrong screen. There we go. It's Random Thoughts with Random Excess. We're still at 26 likes on the face page. Spread the word. I try to put articles on there each day that get a little bit of reaction out of me in some way. Good, bad, indifferent, and especially ones that make me think a little bit and make me question maybe what I'm thinking about. Why am I reacting the way I am? Is this a normal reaction to this? Is there a bigger picture I should be more aware of? Is this just a little minor incident? Is it a symptom of a bigger problem? Those kind of things. I like to tease out the thoughts. It's almost kind of how I approach a lot of problem solving in general in mathematics when I was doing that. It was almost never about the question that was being asked. It was about, what does this question represent? How does it fit into a bigger picture? Is there a way to understand this little problem different than just trying to get the answer to this particular problem, so that I get a little bit more insight into, and sometimes the universe. I've talked about that before, about how I kind of think of the universe as this thing that's always telling the truth, right? I do this asking and listening. I always listen to the universe. I don't always hear the truth. I don't always believe what I hear, but my goal is to listen to the universe, and I can do that by asking questions. In a way, asking questions is a way of focusing that attention on the universe. It has the disadvantage that it can distort, because it can focus you to only hear certain things. But sometimes you need to do that. I can't hear everything that the universe is saying to me at any given moment. My head will explode. There's just too much coming in. There's a lot of things going on in the universe. So by asking questions, I focus narrowly on something. And a good question gives me a chance to get that aha moment, where I understand something. And that can go all the way up through just a simple aha moment, a little nod of the head, a little self-satisfaction, all the way to full-blown, epiphanies and revelations and religious experiences. Just the mind exploding. And of course, I have a propensity to do that too with my diagnosis. I'm a bipolar 1 with. And I've had not recent, but a couple of years ago, my last episode especially had full-blown psychotic features and required a month hospitalization. But when the mind just starts going like that, maybe the focusing is that's that mind exploding thing. But it's an amazing feeling. But it's a careful thing. But it's a thing about asking the right questions and trying to ask the right questions. And to me, mathematics becomes like a model for the universe. So mathematics becomes this thing that's always talking. It's always spitting out the truth. And in the case of mathematics, listening is the part where you're kind of writing the proofs, because you're trying to tease out the information when you write a proof. There's a statement of the proof. There's a theorem, but you got to tease out the meaning. You got to get that aha moment. That yes, I see that it's true. And that's the writing of the proof. And that's where the language of mathematics comes in. But the mathematical statements themselves are true even before the proof. I mean, we don't know that they're true until we write the proof down, or maybe there's another way for us to figure out that they're true. I mean, it's a weird thing about math, whatever. But mostly we examine the truth of mathematics through proof. And the analogy of that is science is the the listening to the universe. It's the setting up experiments. And when you set up an experiment, you're listening for a result. You don't know what the result's going to be, but depending on what experiment you set up, that does limit what kind of results you're going to get. But what results you get are the truth. In some sense, it's truth as far as the universe is concerned. You understand a little bit about the true nature of the universe. Science is maybe not the way to understand the whole truth of the universe. It really does only let you listen to the things that you ask about. And if you aren't asking the right questions, you're not going to be getting the complete answers. You're not going to get the full picture. And depending on how narrow your questions are, your questions could be completely wrong. But science strives to ask those questions. So science listens, the universe speaks. And when I think of mathematics, I think of the mathematics speaks, and I have to listen by writing out the proofs, by solving the problems, as how I listen. And I have that listening and talking inside my head too, the asking and telling. That's my emotions, and then my sort of rational thoughts. My emotions are always talking. Now the problem is they're not always telling me the truth. There's a filtered perspective. I could be believing anything. Who knows what I'm believing at any given moment, but it's going to get an emotional reaction, and then my emotions are driving me into action, telling me do this, do that, telling me how to feel. My emotions are that part that's always talking, and the reasonable part of my mind, the rational thinking, the clear thinking, hopefully, which is a lot of times distorted thinking, also distorted by perspective and things. It tries to listen to the emotions a little bit, and then it tries to figure out, okay, what's really happening? Okay, what is the emotion telling me? What are my senses telling me? What are my eyes telling me? My ears, my fingers? What am I seeing, touching, feeling, tasting? What is the universe trying to communicate to me? And I have to process all that, and I have to process that while my emotions are telling me to pull the trigger, and then I have to kind of like find that balance between eventually I'm going to have to do something. I got to take some sort of action. Maybe I just commit to not taking action and trying to shut the emotions down completely and say, I'm going to shut you down completely. I'm going to take no action, and I'm going to freeze. That's sort of what I refer to sometimes as paralysis by analysis, where I just get this just nothing ever happens. But sometimes it's reacting too soon. It's like not processing all the information thoroughly enough, and then taking an action that's inappropriate. So unstable emotions or unclear thinking can lead to inappropriate actions, and then I have to suffer the consequences, and I have to deal with the consequences. I have to own the consequences. But with all that, even with all that going on and knowing that's happening, I still have to be comfortable with my sense of reality. It gets really scary. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's a scary place to be when you start questioning your own ability to, your own sense of reality. And I've been there, and it's a scary place. It's a dangerous place at times, because once you don't trust your own sense of reality, then what do you trust? I mean, I understand that my sense of reality is flawed, it's distorted, but I hope that it's close enough that I'm not going to be doing things that are going to hurt me, hurt the people around me, that aren't going to be doing permanent damage. I have to recognize that, yes, that's the humility part is, I don't have perfect perception. But hopefully I can catch myself, and I can make small corrections. I can adjust my glasses, and I can start seeing things a little bit more clearly, and I can get closer to realizing what the truth is. But to be in that place where you're completely divorced from reality, whether or not you are, but just inside your head, you're like, I'm completely lost at this point. That's a scary place to be, and we don't like to be there. And that was tonight's episode. Is actually called. I think I call it Truth and Reassurance, something like that. It's like and the idea is that people want to. A lot of times they don't want to hear the truth. They just want to be reassured that what they believe is already true. So there's this battle between truth and reassurance, and it's a duality, and you got to try and find that. And what it allows you to do is it prevents you from swiveling too much, too fast, too quickly, out of control. It gives you more of a controlled shift of your perspective. You don't want your perspective, or maybe you do. I mean, but if you can slowly adjust your perspective, it gives you that sort of mental state. It can help promote mental stability. So this between truth and reassurance, and I mentioned before, and I do like it's a great quote. It's Oscar Wilde. If you want to tell people the truth, you have to make them laugh. Otherwise, they will try to kill you. And that's there's kind of a funniness to it. There's also kind of a lot of truth to it. There's a lot of truth. There are people out there who will kill you if you tell the truth, and not just people. There are countries, there are states, there are entire groups of people who, when you try to engage them in a conversation about the true nature of the universe, whether they're right or they're wrong, or whether you're right or you're wrong, but when you try to seek out the truth with them, they will kill you if they offend you, if you offend them. And it manifests itself, even in this day and age, in the form of blasphemy laws. And up here now I have a map. This shows kind of the current state of blasphemy laws in the in the world. The red would be places where you can go to jail for basically questioning somebody's perception of reality. Questioning, these things tend to be very religious in nature. So if you question somebody's religious beliefs, you can end up in jail. And that's in the red areas. That includes Russia, India. There's Germany, obviously, up there. Surprisingly, I see New Zealand. I see Iceland. Iceland. Iceland's kind of a very progressive type country. Although you can go to jail. The countries that are in black are the usual suspects. Those are places where you can actually get the death sentence. So the big ones there are like Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, and a couple of the African nations. And then the orange would be some countries where maybe it's just fines. It's not as serious, but it includes Canada and Brazil. We think of those as very Finland. How is Finland on that list? Finland's, but a lot of it maybe is overreach, overprotection of people because we don't want to offend anybody, so we got to protect their rights. And yeah, I don't think we should be. You don't want to. Maybe it's just I don't think things should be against the law just because we don't like them. Yeah, I don't think it's right to mock people's religious beliefs. When I say I don't think it's right, I mean it's not a good idea to just do this on a regular basis kind of thing. But I definitely do not believe there should be laws against it. I mean, there's a lot of things in the world that I don't like, but I don't think there should be laws against them just because I don't like them. And especially when it comes to people having thoughts and questioning reality, that if I question your reality, I should go to jail. I mean, we all have distorted thoughts. All of us. None of us understand the universe perfectly. So anything anybody says to us when they question our reality, they are going to be wrong, and we're going to be wrong. We're all going to be wrong. Nobody should have to go to jail over it. It doesn't make any sense. It's just a craziness to me. So that was something I was thinking about today, was these blasphemy laws. I saw this chart, and this is a website actually, endblasphemylaws.org. And I am not. Full disclosure, I am not a religious person. I was never a religious person. I don't remember any point in my life where I actually believed in any kind of personal God. I talk about my higher power being sort of the universe and the things outside my locus of control. But I don't believe the universe has any intended purpose. It doesn't have any intention in its actions. I believe the universe is always telling me the truth, and that's just a way of saying, hey, it is what it is. Whatever's happening out in the universe is happening, and it's actually happening in a way that's not like wildly unpredictable. I mean, there's a truth to it. There is some sort of regularity or pattern, or there's an understanding of it. There's a way to connect to it, but I don't believe it does it with intention. The universe doesn't love me. It doesn't hate me. It's not teaching me a lesson. It doesn't have a plan for me. Things just are what they are. This is all my belief kind of thing. So I don't consider. I mean, I consider myself an atheist, but I'm not one of these people who's like, oh, nothing is true, or I'm not real sure exactly how to reconcile that, or how to clearly explain that. But be that as it may, I just don't have any connection to any kind of belief system like that. So for me, it's very easy to say there should be no blasphemy laws because to me it's completely interfering with my ability to have free thought. But I would like to think that, even people who hold religious beliefs would think that, yeah, you can have whatever beliefs you want to. We're all allowed to have our own beliefs. And so when I see these laws in so many countries, and this is a major, includes a lot of the world, then it kind of makes me wonder, this is a holdover from, what the Dark Ages are. We invented science. Basically, science has been around for a long time, but certainly in the last 400 years in the Western world, since Newton, it's been kind of codified, where we recognize that, hey, clarity of thought, and we can do a lot of things where we kind of all agree on what's going on. And that's kind of what I mean by science. Science is this. Almost like a global reality. It's like, even though all our perceptions are wrong and distorted, if we all adhere to the scientific method and scientific type thinking, being science-minded, we will all come to the same conclusions about the universe. We'll still all be wrong because we are kind of limited by what questions we can ask. But if we follow this procedure of being very careful and removing our own personal bias and just trying to listen for that truth, then we definitely will agree on it. I mean, I'll be able to set up a scientific experiment, and then somebody else, a fundamentalist religious person, 100 years from now, and a religion doesn't even exist now, they could do that same experiment. They'll get the same answer. That there is this truth in science, that it adheres to this truth, and so because of that, maybe that's what makes me think about these blasphemy laws. We really don't need these, because everything can be reduced to, we can at least agree on the science, and we can't even agree on the science. That's another sad thing. Oh, now you got to start. Maybe I want blasphemy laws for people who don't believe in global climate change or don't believe in evolution. That's my version of blasphemy laws. So we have in the house. We have Dutch in the house.
Hello.
I'm sorry we didn't wait for you.
No. I definitely was on the phone longer than what I expected, but there's a few things that are going on as far as serenely speaking and charisma strength. So.
Right. Hopefully good things. Or
hopefully, yeah. A lot better than last night.
but things nonetheless. So yeah. When it comes to these blasphemy laws, I can almost say, yes, we should have blasphemy laws that go after people who refuse to believe in science. But I don't go there. But that's the closest thing I guess I can come to when I think about people who actually, countries where they have blasphemy laws on the books. Do I think people should be fined for not believing in evolution? Of course not. I do get really upset when science teachers won't teach evolution in science classrooms, because there it's like, and maybe that's not a science thing, because I think I would extend it to any course, is the class is called science. Teach science. If you don't want to teach evolution, teach a different class, and then you're not teaching evolution. Or if you want to teach creationism or intelligent design, which are not science, teach them in another class. I mean, I'm okay with people, teaching that stuff in schools, just not in a science class. A science class should be a class about science, where we use science-minded thinking and we teach the skills that people need to be science-minded thinkers. And to me, being science-minded also is not necessarily you have to wear a lab coat and do experiments. And I mean, that's kind of how we approach science and teach science-minded thinking. One, it's very interesting. It gives us some kind of tangible results, and there's lots of experiments and stuff that we can do, and maybe get the kids interested. But you can do science. You can be doing science-minded thinking, doing almost anything. It's really about just kind of removing your own bias and trying to figure out what's really happening here. What is if somebody else were to follow my procedure, I want them to get the exact same result that I'm getting. I want them to have the same understanding I'm having when I do it. That's what science is about. It's not necessarily about wearing a lab coat and a pocket protector and Bunsen burners. That's just an easy way to do it. But being science-minded is a little bit more broad, and maybe science classes should try and teach that a little bit more broadly. I don't know. But blasphemy laws, so there they are. Challenging our reality, very difficult. and I can understand maybe a little bit where people might, like I was talking about, maybe there should be a law. There ought to be a law. But and so maybe that's where the first thought comes up. But we need to be, a little bit more bold in our thinking and say, hey, it's okay that I don't like certain things. It doesn't mean there ought to be a law in the sense that let's really make it a law. Let's catch ourselves and say, I'll stop short of making it a law. I'll voice my opinions and I'll choose my friends and whatever. But I'm not going to have the death penalty. Really, you're going to kill somebody over beliefs? Oh, heavens to Betsy! All right, completely unrelated thought. So it was really random, but this is something that kind of really gets me going. And the show's actually turned out a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. I was before you got here, Shane, I was thinking I might do 5 minutes tonight. I'm gonna start doing 5-minute shows because it's hard for me to think of something to talk about every night. I guess not. I could talk about things, but this I read this article here. This is New York City wants to put together this special task force, 350 specially trained, it's like ultra SWAT teams for counterterrorism and like keeping protesters under control, like protesters. So and they're going to have like mounted vehicles with mounted machine guns and 50 caliber type thing. And it's like, what? What am I reading The Onion? Is this what is going on here? And it's like, well, it's because of one, that there's the fear of after seeing Ferguson, the result of Ferguson, or just this probably been in the works for a while though, but they kind of use that, and then also in New York City soon after that they had Michael Green, but they had a lot of protests and it was shutting down traffic. It's like, okay, but where's the part where you need specially trained military, paramilitary with machine guns and vehicles? You're going to gun down protesters, and what are you going to do with counterterrorism? Because I don't know if you know about terrorism or how it works. Usually, it's kind of a punctuated event that happens. And the response is first responders in the sense of firemen and rescue and cleanup. You don't need men with machine guns. So
it came in just in time, didn't it?
So it's not, so this counterterrorism thing is not going to prevent any. Counterterrorism is intelligence. It's getting the intelligence to prevent these things, and you don't prevent them with guys on mounted machine guns. You get them because you send in a team early in the morning, and you shut them down early when you know what's going on. You don't need a squad of 350, a little military, because that's not. So the only thing it really can be used for is protesters. When the protesters come out and you want to protest, basically they're sending you a message: don't protest. Because that's the only message I get from that, which maybe this relates to the blasphemy thing, because they don't want you thinking, they don't want you talking, they don't want you expressing yourself, whatever thoughts you have going on in your head, any kind of way you want to change the system. No. Systems have to change, just like our perspectives. They have to change. We have to evolve. We have to learn, improve, share. We have performance, feedback, revision. Government needs to recognize that performance, feedback, revision. The protesting is the feedback. It's what is the public doing here? How are they responding? And you don't shut it down, because they're going to keep doing it until it turns into a revolution.
All sorts of things are happening again.
Yeah, it looks like Dutch was booted out of the room.
It's because he had a thought. It's blasphemy. I'm coming back though.
So you're like a ghost. We can hear you before we can see you.
I believe I'm back.
But this is also in that category of militarizing the police, it's privatizing criminal justice. I mean, it's a whole system, a whole section there where I see the system is so horribly flawed. I mean, this is one area where I really see it bad. It's part of this pattern of we got to make everything a business. We got to run everything like we run a corporation. Criminal justice is not a business. Education is not a business. We don't throw schools like businesses. We don't have to run our jails like businesses. And in a lot of cases, it was a quote by Mark Twain. I guess it was a Mark Twain quote. It was actually Mark Twain quoting somebody else who he was like, well, I was somewhere and this old man was talking, and I don't know if it was like Mark Twain spinning just kind of like talking like what is it? It's just like country wisdom thing, like the wisdom of the guy, the farmer. He mentioned because he was in a town, and the town didn't want to build a new school, and so the old farmer stood up and said, you can either build a school or you can build a jail. But you're not saving money by not building the school. So, and so there's things like that are true, and we've actually been, so it's whatever. A lot of flaws with the system there, I think.
I do have a thought.
Okay, go ahead, Shane.
I gotta catch up because I missed a whole. You got the mic on there. I missed a whole bunch in the beginning, so I get to put my whole thought and effort on this particular situation here. In which case, if it was doing what it is that it's saying, and we've had all week long as to where we've discussed how articles and titles aren't what it is that they are seeming to be. This here has nothing to do with terrorism. What they're doing is they're titling protesting as terrorism. And that's just not the right way to go about things. And I'm getting very concerned and annoyed at the fact that our police authorities are acting scared. They are scared of what is going on around them. And what's going on is that they're reacting in all sorts of different ways. And I swear to God, they need a consultant within their group that has to do with, like they need the Dalai Lama there or something, or Deepak Chopra or something. Somebody needs to go into this situation and say, hold the thought. It's like, it's one thing to have the thought of beefing up security and going out and with our shields and our billy clubs and our pepper spray and all this. That's one thing to have the thought. That's fine. But then you're supposed to go to another level, okay, of professionalism as to where now, okay, but is that the right thing that we really need to do? And that seems to be what's missing here. They seem to be going directly off of their emotion. And, it's like you look at the different protests and everything like that. Like, you're not going to stop the protest. The only thing that you're going to do is you're going to incite more protests. Because you're sitting there and you're trying to tell them that they can't protest. You're trying to tell them that they can't be violent or whatever the case may be. I don't condone. But guess what? You are. You are actually saying it's no holds barred now. We're going to beef up security in regards to a protesting situation, and you're expecting the other side not to react the way that you reacted. That just doesn't make sense to me. So, I mean, this is a big thing on my mind lately. I really think that there needs to be a consultant. I think there needs to be some sort of committee that is outside of the police authorities and say, okay, we need to talk to somebody in order to be able to get it to the point where we're actually using the police force for what it's meant to, and that is to keep us safe and to keep us, within the law, but not be scared and not be reacting all towards this. This is getting a little bit out of hand, and and you've got some really bad results. I mean, you've got a number of Eric Gardner was definitely one. Okay, so now you've got the police force literally turning their back on their leader, the mayor, within their own city, because now they're acting from their emotional standpoint. They could use DBT. They really could. They could use dialectical behavior therapy, or diabolical is what I call it. But anyways, they could go from rational mind or logical mind, emotional mind, and come into what? Wise mind. Nobody's being wise in these situations. That's what needs to happen. They need to come to the point as to where they actually take their emotions, their logic, and they bring them together in the middle. Nobody's doing that. They're only acting from the emotional side. My end.
And believe it or not, Shane was not here at the beginning when I gave that exact. But I was talking about a different, the other story. But that exact same story of you got these emotions screaming, do this, do this, do this, and it's okay to have those emotions. Yeah. It's okay to have those and to recognize that. We were talking about the blasphemy laws. I can understand people having that, but whatever it is that we're going on in our lives, you got to have that reasonable side. That's less, slow your roll, cool your jets. What's really going on here? What's the real situation? And with the case of this, it's like the system has to change, really. I mean, the police have to, like you were alluding to, they have to change what it is they're trying to do, because they're not going to be able to fix this situation by just escalating. And there's a Kennedy quote about that. And I'll muck it up here, but essentially, it's like when you make peaceful protest impossible, you make violent revolution inevitable.
You're expecting it. I mean, you're inciting it.
Because people are going to protest. People, believe it or not, people are going to protest no matter what you do. They're going, and that protest can just be a simple stop the traffic on the bridge, or it could be pitchforks and knives and swords and guns and burning. It could be a violent revolution, not just a riot, but it could turn into a revolution. We saw it with Arab Spring a couple of years ago. The people are going to protest eventually,
and they have a right. And I know I'm in the background here. They have a right to protest. That's what everybody talks about. Everybody talks about how if you vote, or if you don't vote, then you don't have a say.
Now you vote, right? Because you can't tell me that every single protester that's been out there lately hasn't voted. Now they vote, they have a reason to protest, and now they're telling them to shut up. So it's like that's a double standard. I mean, coming and going is just the wrong way of doing things. You've got to. They have the right to be able to protest. They have the right to be able to question things. Do they have the right to break the law? No. But they sure as heck do have the right in order to question things and get some damn answers from the people of which they work for the people. They don't work for the mayor. They don't work for the state. They work for the people of the state. And that's what seems to be getting misunderstood. And and as far as like the reactions and everything like this, do I think that it's at all cool for a man to go from West Virginia, he shoots his girlfriend, gets into a car, runs over to New York City, and shoots two cops, two police officers, without any warning whatsoever, and they die? Absolutely not. That man's insane. He's crazy. Believe me, I know crazy. I've actually got the paperwork in order to prove it. He's crazy, okay? That's not right. But what does that have to do with everything else, with the mayor and all this, and Eric Gardner and all this? That has nothing to do with it. That was done before he did that. I mean, that's what they don't understand. It's like you're sitting there and you're trying to protect one thing by being emotional about it. And you know what? I know a lot about that. You know what I mean? I know a lot about it. I've done the action-reaction thing. It doesn't work. It doesn't go off very well. So I'm just sitting here saying, stop with the reactions and start thinking.
Yeah, it was great when you said that, protect that one thing, too, because that was actually, you missed the beginning. I was calling this episode Truth and Reassurance. And a lot of times we don't want to hear the truth. We just want to be reassured that our perception of the truth is valid. We're protecting that reassurance.
Yeah.
And that's what, and systems do that. The police officers do it, but the entire police department, we all do that. It really does come down to, we hold on to that very dearly. And in a way, it could be a useful tool as a starting point to say, okay, I recognize where I am now, but now I have to start letting go a little bit and seeing where it goes. I have to be willing to change my perception, my perspective, and then my perceptions will change. So perception and perspective are a little bit the same word almost, but I think of them a little bit differently. Just to clarify this for me. When I think of perspective, for me, that perspective is this thing that's kind of out here. It's the lens. The perception is the result of actually after the lens, and then those thoughts and emotions that are happening after the perspective creates a perception, and my perception is my model for reality. Perception is reality. Whatever I think is happening in my head, that is in that moment, that's what is true. Okay, and then there's a universe out there, and the universe is true, and it's doing whatever it's doing, and then I try to reflect that in my head, and I get a little perception. But my perspective is this lens that sits out there and distorts. It's a filter that distorts my perspective. It distorts things, so that when I have my thoughts and my emotions, they're slightly distorted. So I have a distorted perception at the end of the day. Okay, I want to kind of.
Well, I could go up a whole nother level, but
I think. But and again, I want people to realize we could go and we could talk about this one subject, but this is all actually part of a bigger picture, because it is kind of, let's dial it back, and especially if you don't want to talk about this subject, but think of another subject, something about ourselves that you hold on to dearly, that you believe, that you don't want to hear. I don't want to change that. That's a good place to start. Not that you have to change it, but it's a good place to start interrogating. What's important to you. Just like the police need to start interrogating what's important to them, and possibly changing it, and not fight to keep it, because that's that fight there could be dangerous. Twitter, you can get us RTWRE. That's Random Thoughts with Random Access. Use the hashtag. Send out your tweets with that hashtag. We'll see what you're thinking about. We'll see what your random thoughts are. We'll talk about them on the show. Excuse me. You can see here, there's this person here, one blue eye. That's me. But I got my tweets coming out here. And some of these are from the Facebook page. So it's about blasphemy laws. The one here, the beat goes on. You click on that one. That's the story about the cops.
Oh.
And I got some stuff about higher powers. I got a couple of tweets coming out every day. Sometimes there's Twitter, what do you call it? What was it? Twitter exclusive content exclusive just to Twitter, and you can recognize that because it's the hashtags at the end of the tweet. The hashtag at the beginning of the tweet is coming from the Facebook page, so you can just see the Facebook page. I did find something out, maybe, and you could actually use this information yourself too, Dutch. When you type on the Facebook page, you can type a long thing on Facebook page, and then you can also embed a link at the end of that. That's typically what I'll do. And what will happen is if you do that and it sends it to Twitter, of course it cuts it short because Twitter can only be a certain link, and it gives a little link, and then you can see these little links here, ffb.me. That's like the short.
Oh, Facebook goes directly to that.
If you embed a link into the post, that link takes them to the link, not back to the Facebook post. So if you type a long thing and then you embed a link there, it will send the first part to Twitter, but then that link on the Twitter that they see will take them to that embedded
directly
post.
To the original source.
Yeah, back to the embedded post. And
okay.
So what you would want to do is, if you want to type a long thing and have a post, you can type your long thing
directly to YouTube or something.
Now, your first comment on Facebook, you can embed the link in there. So now it's embedded in the comment. So now what happens is when it goes to Twitter, it's too long to be sent as a tweet, but it's all text. So now it links back to your post on Facebook, which is now the full text of the post with the embedded link as the first comment. Yeah, I don't know.
Boy, we're learning things.
Yeah, and you learn by doing, right? That's one way to learn, is learn by doing. You can learn by asking somebody else. The other thing is, you just learn by doing, see what's happening. Experience is a good teacher. Might as well don't be afraid of it. So that's kind of going on Facebook. This is the other thing that we do at the end of the show, is we pull up the count.
Not the count.
Okay, so pull out here. 9:55.
We're holding steady.
Yeah, was that what it was?
It was 9:55 yesterday.
I thought it was 9:52. I thought.
It might have been.
I thought it dipped down way down, like numbers that had not been seen in a long time. So I don't know. So 9:52. 955 today. We're still, we haven't get above 960. We had 960, 960, 960, but it goes down. So well, we're getting there. We're holding steady. But get us on Facebook, get us on Twitter, get us on Google, get us on YouTube. And, of course, you can call us. We got the Random Access, the Random Thoughts feedback line. That's good in the U.S. and Canada. Outside the U.S. and Canada, it's a long distance. It's a long distance call anyway. But in the U.S. and Canada, it's just like a within the country call. It's a 15189-666-175. So if you have roaming capabilities in your U.S. and Canada, then this counts as a U.S. and Canada call. That's 15189-666-175. It's every day from 3 to 4, weekends from 3 to 5, and every night 11 to midnight after the show. Give us some feedback. Talk to us. It's not on the air, but you can talk to us in person. And if you call other times, then you just leave a message, and we'll have to hear your message at a different time. I think that's all I have for tonight. I want to thank Crystal for joining us in the room tonight. She was chatting away here in the chat room inside the Hangout. If you join us at the Hangout, you can always send us a message, find out how to get involved in that, and you can chat with Crystal instead of just looking at her. Of course, you can chat with us. If we get a chance, we can look over and chat back. I got to figure out how to do that sort of a little bit more smoothly to be able to look at the show and produce the show. Because I'm an expert producer. To do all that and still be able to chat. But we'll see. At that. We've gone to 40 minutes. I thought it was going to be a 15-minute show tonight. I'm really glad it went a little bit more. One of the things I did talk about before you came in, Shane, was maybe scaling it back to maybe 4 days a week. Because I was even today, I was thinking, I don't have anything to talk about. I can't talk 40 minutes every day. Although, I think that, and then I come in and we got 40 minutes like that. Boom, and had to cut it short and say, we're done. we got to get out of here. So I don't know, maybe 5 days a week. I don't know, 6 days a week. I don't know. 7 days a week can be draining. Only because it is nice to have a night off. There's a movie I want to watch, John Wick. I want to watch that movie. Yeah. But when are we going to watch that? If we're doing this every night at 10.
Midnight.
Yeah. So which I was talking to Crystal about my sleep. It's like goes.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah. It's like. And I blame the fire. We had the fire a couple of weeks ago, as you know, and half the block burned down, just a couple doors down, 3 houses, total losses, and. We're up in the middle of the night. They had us all night long, ready to evacuate at a moment's notice. We didn't have to. Luckily, the next door neighbors did. We had dogs and birds and cats in the house. And that was whatever. But it was good. It was a good thing. It was a good experience, actually. But it threw off my sleep schedule a couple weeks ago, and I just have not been able to get it back to back to normal. It's like it's wobbling. I had it steady for a while, and then it got. And then now it's just still wobbling, and so one day it'll be okay. The next day, I was up till 4:30 last night, and I had a 9:15 doctor's appointment this morning that I missed because, which I thought I was going to, but it was, I was even contemplating, 4:30, I might as well just stay up now at this point. And I'm like, why am I do that to myself? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to stay up all night just to make a doctor's appointment. I'm going to go to sleep, and if I miss it, I miss it because. I'll just work and get my sleep back, but I'm not going to punish myself by staying up all night. Okay, so now I took an extra few minutes on top of that just to slow down, decompress. Exactly. Namaste. And what's the other one? USA. Namaste. We're feeling good here. We'll be back tomorrow night with more random thoughts. With Random Access and Dutch, and maybe we'll have Crystal in the house. Good night, folks. Say good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.